First up, let's take a look at the top stories of the hour. Big AAP'DA showdown in Delhi. Kejriwal hits back, says no BJP CM face is the real issue. BJP steps up attacks with new poster. Arvind Kejriwal hits at its own ally, calls Congress a non-serious party. BJP releases first list for Delhi Assembly polls. Ex-MP Parvesh Verma to take on Kejriwal. Ramesh Biduri up against Atishi. Mallikarjun Kharge targets Prime Minister Modi after SP gets injured in Cong clash. Says BJP is a matchstick which burned Manipur. BJP stages massive protests in Kalaburgi against Priyank Kharge demanding justice in contractor Sachin's suicide case. Four soldiers dead, one critical as army vehicle falls into gorge in Bandipora. Dense fog reduces visibility, 200 flights delayed and 19 diverted. Judge sets date for Trump hush money sentencing but rules out prison term. R. Chidambaram, architect of Operation Smiling Buddha, dies at 88. Let's take a look at the top story of the hour. Political temperatures soar ahead of Delhi polls as the national capital gears up for elections. Cracks within the India alliance are widening. AAP national convener Arvind Kejriwal lashed out at the Congress during a media briefing, calling it a non-serious party. Kejriwal reiterated that the Congress is acting as the BJP's B team.
करने दीजिए उनको। आप कांग्रेस को इतना सीरियसली क्यों लेते हैं? जनता ने लेना बंद कर दिया। आप पत्रकार, कुछ चंद पत्रकार उनको अभी भी सीरियसली लेते हैं। वो इन्हीं की महिलाएं हैं, पंजाब की महिलाएं नहीं है। पंजाब की सारी महिलाएं हमारे साथ हैं। उनको आम आदमी पार्टी पे भरोसा है। ये कांग्रेस की और बीजेपी वालों की, कांग्रेस और बीजेपी को अब औपचारिक रूप से ऐलान कर देना चाहिए कि वो मिलके गठबंधन में ये चुनाव लड़ रहे हैं आम आदमी पार्टी के साथ।
Meanwhile, protests erupted outside Kejriwal's residence in Delhi earlier today. A group of women from Punjab claimed that promises made by AAP during the Punjab Assembly elections remain unfulfilled. The political drama continues to heat up as the capital inches closer to the polls. In another scathing dig, Kejriwal questioned the BJP's chief ministerial candidate for Delhi, accusing the party of lacking vision for the capital's people. This is what Kejriwal said in a quote: BJP has no CM face for Delhi polls. This comes after the BJP unveiled an AAP'DA poster urging voters to oust AAP to rid Delhi of its civic crisis in the upcoming polls. Hitting back, the BJP spokesperson Sudhanshu Trivedi said that the welfare of Delhi has nothing to do with announcing a CM face. He accused AAP government of mismanagement and increasing its dependence on central funds threefold since 2014 to 15, claiming taxpayers' money has been misused.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने यह कहा कि दिल्ली में गंभीर आपदा आई हुई है। आपदाओं की तो एक श्रृंखला है जो विगत 10 वर्षों से दिल्ली की जनता सह रही है। आम आदमी पार्टी सरकार को यह सत्ता मिली तो दिल्ली प्रॉफिट का बजट हुआ करता था। यह वर्ष 2024-25 पहला वर्ष होने जा रहा है जब दिल्ली घाटे की तरफ बढ़ रहा है, और वह घाटा कितनी बड़ी चुनौती लेके आया है इसका प्रमाण यह है कि 2024-25 के यानी वर्तमान फाइनेंशियल ईयर के लिए दिल्ली सरकार ने नेशनल स्मॉल सेविंग फंड NSSF से 10,000 करोड़ रुपए का ऋण लेने के लिए पत्रावली मूव की है।
Now, with both sides trading sharp barbs, the stakes are high than ever in the race for Delhi. Meanwhile, the Bharatiya Janata Party has released its first list of 29 candidates for the Delhi Assembly polls scheduled in February. Among the names featured in the first list, former West Delhi MP Parvesh Verma, who will be taking on AAP chief and former Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal for the next Assembly polls, and he will be in fact fighting from the New Delhi constituency. Former South Delhi MP Ramesh Biduri is set to take the fight with CM Atishi from Kalkaji, while former AAP Minister Kailash Galot has been fielded from Bijwasan instead of his turf in Najafgarh. The party has also dropped Gandhinagar MLA Anil Bajpayee and given the ticket to former Delhi Congress chief Arvinder Singh Lovely.
धन्यवाद करता हूं कि वो मुझे इस लायक समझती है कि मैं उनके जो लक्ष्य है दिल्ली की सेवा का उसको मैं पूरा कर सकता हूं और मुझे लगता है कि जनता का आज झुकाव भारतीय जनता पार्टी के प्रति है क्योंकि रिजर्व सीट है। जो आदरणीय मोदी जी ने कहा है कि मैं दलितों को नौकरी मांगने वाला नहीं नौकरी देने वाला बनाना चाहता हूं और उसमें अनेकों ने कदम भी उठाए गए हैं और वहीं डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर जी के संविधान और उसको सम्मान डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर को सम्मान जो दिया है दलित समाज भारतीय जनता पार्टी के साथ जुड़ रहा है और भारी बहुमत से भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बनने वाली है।
मैं भारत के प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का, माननीय श्री अमित शाह जी का, माननीय श्री जगत प्रकाश नड्डा जी का, दिल्ली के अध्यक्ष माननीय सचदेवा साहब का, हमारे प्रभारी माननीय पांडा जी का, मैं सारी पार्टी का, संगठन का और कार्यकर्ताओं का दिल की गहराइयों से शुक्र अदा करता हूं, धन्यवाद करता हूं जिन्होंने मुझे राजौरी गार्डन से पार्टी का एक उम्मीदवार के रूप में भेजा है। दिल्ली अरविंद केजरीवाल ने पिछले 12 साल में बर्बाद कर दी है। दिल्ली आज कूड़े का ढेर बन गई है। दिल्ली के अंदर गंदा सीवरेज का पानी पीने को आ रहा है। दिल्ली में लाखों रुपया लोगों का पानी का बिल आ रहा है, लाखों रुपया बिजली का बिल आ रहा है। दिल्ली के अंदर स्कूल घोटाला, बस घोटाला, शराब घोटाला से लेकर घोटालों की राजनीति अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने राजधानी बना दिया है दिल्ली को। आज 2013 में जब अरविंद केजरीवाल जी दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री पहली बार बने तो सोच के देखिए, दिल्ली का एक प्लॉट अगर हम बेचकर कोई गुड़गांव जाता था उसको 3 प्लॉट गुड़गांव में मिलते थे। और दिल्ली के अंदर 12 साल से अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की सत्ता रही और आज हरियाणा के अंदर इतनी तरक्की हो गई। हरियाणा में सरकार रही 12 साल से। अगर आज हरियाणा के अंदर आपको जाना है गुड़गांव में, दिल्ली का एक प्लॉट बेच के जाओगे, गुड़गांव में एक प्लॉट भी नहीं ले पाओगे। इतनी तरक्की कर गया गुड़गांव और दिल्ली इतना पीछे रह गया। यही कारण है अब दिल्ली के लोग चाहते हैं कि अरविंद केजरीवाल को हटाना है, मोदी जी की डबल इंजन की सरकार को दिल्ली में लाना है और दिल्ली को जो उजाड़ दिया गया है, बर्बाद कर दिया गया है, गंदगी का ढेर बना दिया गया है, उसको वापस से दिल्ली, सुंदर दिल्ली बनाना है।
दोनों सांसद रहे, 10 साल तक सांसद रहे। केंद्र में इनकी सरकार, नगर निगम इनका, एलजी इनका, केंद्र शासित राज्य दोनों और पूरी भाजपा फेल हो गई दिल्ली को परमानेंट सोल्यूशन देने में, फेल हो गई। इसलिए टिकटें कटी, लोगों का गुस्सा था, एंटी इनकम्बेंसी था, काटनी पड़ी टिकट। और आज विधायक लड़ने के लिए 10 विधानसभा में खोजा जा रहा था कौन सी सुरक्षित सीट है। और रमेश बिदूरी जी कालका जी आ रहे हैं, स्वागत है उनका, आइएगा। जनता हिसाब बराबर करेगी आप दोनों से। टेम्परेरी की राजनीति आप दोनों ने बहुत खेली है।
Well, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology has released the draft rules for the Digital Personal Data Protection Act. Now, these rules have been eagerly anticipated since the act was passed in the Parliament in August 2023. The government is now inviting feedback on the draft rules via the My Government portal with the deadline set for February 18th, 2025. The rules are expected to clarify various aspects of the law, such as the registration and responsibilities of consent managers, the handling of children's personal data, among others. Additionally, the rules are likely to offer details on the establishment of the Data Protection Board, along with the appointment and service conditions for its chairperson and members. Now, as per the explanatory note, the draft rules outline the requirements for obtaining verifiable consent from parents or legal guardians before processing the personal data of children or persons with disabilities. Since the draft rules have been released, many experts argue that the rules also need to address challenges posed by emerging technologies like artificial intelligence. Yash, these draft rules are quite important because there are two concerns that were always there. One is when it comes to data privacy, who gets access to it, who is going to give that access. Second, the question about children using social media and who's going to give that consent. That aspect of it has been highlighted by the government, and it's not about India alone. We have many countries that are thinking about parental consent for using social media for children.
Well, absolutely, Verghese. And in fact, this is a very pivotal movement, a move by the government here, because this very act was passed by the parliament back in 2023. And after getting a nod from the Home Ministry, now it is open for public consultation. In fact, people can go on the My Government portal and they can just put out their views regarding this very draft, which is being put out by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. And this is also very important to highlight how certain rules in this, like you mentioned, including the consent which is required from the parents while kids use a social media platform, that is very important, because what happens is kids are not very well equipped with the kind of vulnerability they can face on the internet, and perhaps this will give a guard to these kids when it comes to this online world of crime and also the online world of thuggery, if we can say. So this is a very important thing, and perhaps one other important aspect to it is also about how the data managers here will be under some sort of a scrutiny, where there will be liable of exactly how the data of the public will be used, be it the public company or the private players. So this will pave the way for a more robust set of rules for the social media, and in fact this is something which will pave the way for a more secure and a more robust social media atmosphere.
Well, thank you, Yash, for joining us with all those details. Let's see how the draft rules and the recommendations will be coming in on what changes could be there and what is going to be acceptable. Moving on, the situation in Manipur remains tense as economic blockade by the Kuki Zo Council continues in tribal areas, protesting alleged security force actions against women in Saibol village of Cong district. Now, hundreds of demonstrators stormed the SP and DC offices, pelting stones and causing widespread chaos. Videos circulating on social media show armed individuals among the protesters, with some wielding sophisticated weapons. The blockade, which began at midnight on January 2nd, restricts vehicular movement and transportation of essential goods. Now, the tribal body has vowed to intensify protests if compensation is not provided to the women injured in the alleged bait-and charge on December 31st. Meanwhile, the Committee on Tribal Unity has called for a 24-hour shutdown in Kang Pokpi, citing the Central Forces' presence in Saibol as unnecessary and provocative. Protests have also extended to sit-ins in Tengnopal, denouncing alleged atrocities. Now, the conflict, which escalated with clash between Kuki-Zo women and security forces earlier this week, highlights deepening tensions in the state. With over 250 lives lost and thousands displaced since May last year, Manipur's ethnic strife shows no sign of resolution.
First of all, to begin with, if you can just throw some light for our viewers on this very latest developments we are picking, exactly why these fresh unrest were reported from the state of Manipur.
I can well tell you what exactly has happened. I have spoken to Kankopi itself, to one of my officers who is deployed there. So he was available on 31st evening also, when the basic Kuki-Zo community women, they were protesting. They had a fight with our security forces, those who were deployed in Kankopi, particularly in Saibol village, and there was a clash in which few of the Kuki-Zo community women, they were injured, and that erupted violence. And most of this Kuki-Zo community, they came out on the road in Kankopi, and there is an economic blockade in hill areas. They have done it, and now they are demanding all the security forces deployed in Saibol village should be withdrawn, and this has to be done. And then They started pelting stones to DC's office at Kankopi and SP's office at Kankopi. And it so happened thousands and thousands of protesters with stones and all the lathis and all, they came out and they were having weapons covered in blankets, and firing was going on, and SP Manoj Prabhakar of Kankopi was injured and he was hospitalized. Of course, his condition is safe now, but I can well tell you that uh, this economic blockade is still going on, and they have asked for another 24 hours. They'll be blocking, and they are protesting. Their demand is withdrawal of all security forces from Saibol village in Kankopi, and payment has to be made to those women who were injured by security forces. And most of the hill tribes have joined the demonstration and the violence. The violence has erupted very badly in Kankopi. I can well tell you, Kankopi is the only place where violence is there for the last so many months, more than 1 year. And I don't understand as to why security forces, those who are there in 80,000 strength in Manipur, cannot control a small district like Kankopi. I just spoke to one of the officer who is deployed in Kankopi, and he was telling things are pretty bad. And most of the Kukijo community, they are on the road and they are fighting for it. And they are fighting. They are throwing stones. They are they are having lathis in their hand, and a number of them are having weapons. They are covering the weapons with blankets. They are on the road. So it is a very pathetic affair, and I'm telling you what happened in 3rd May of 2023. Similar incidents are occurring, and Kankopi is out of control. And I hope today morning, of course, situation is better. I just spoke to Kankopi. Situation is better, but economic blockade is going on, and things are pretty bad in Kankopi.
Tragedy struck Jammu and Kashmir's Bandipora district, where an army vehicle skidded off the road and plunged into a gorge near SK Pain. Now, initially, 2 soldiers lost their lives and 3 others were injured. Sadly, 2 of the injured succumbed to their injuries at the hospital, bringing the death toll to 4. 1 soldier remains injured. Officials confirmed that the vehicle overturned while navigating a hill terrain, leading to the fatal accident. The injured were rushed to a nearby medical facility where 2 were declared dead on arrival. A new study by the State Bank of India has put out some insights on rural poverty in India and how India's rural poverty ratio has registered a dramatic decline. The report states that poverty declined faster in rural areas during the financial year 24 as poverty ratio dipped below 5% for the first time to 4.86% from 7.2% in financial year 23. Now, in comparison, the poverty ratio in urban areas fell to 4.09% from 4.6% during the same period. The report notes this decline in the rural poverty ratio is in account of higher consumption growth in the 0 to 5% fractile, leading to a shift in the poverty line from 5 to 10% decile in financial year 23 to 0 to 5% decile in financial year 24. Further, the report notes another reason for the declining rural-urban gap was the rise in transfer schemes such as direct benefit transfer. The report also states that one of the reasons for the increasingly shrinking horizontal income gap between rural and urban and the vertical income gap within rural income classes is the enhanced physical infrastructure is scripting a new story in rural mobility.
अभी कल ही स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया की भी एक अहम स्टडी आई है। उनका एक बड़ा अध्ययन किया हुआ रिपोर्ट आया है। स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया की रिपोर्ट क्या कह रही है? वो कहते हैं 2012 में भारत में ग्रामीण गरीबी, रूरल पॉवर्टी, यानी गांवों में गरीबी करीब 26% थी, 26%। 2024 में 2024 में भारत में रूरल पॉवर्टी यानी गांवों में गरीबी घट कर के पहले जो 26% गरीबी थी वो गरीबी घट करके 5% से भी कम हो गई है।
Senior India batter Rohit Sharma on Saturday categorically denied his retirement rumours and said that he stood down from ongoing Sydney Test against Australia on account of poor form. Now, grappling with the modest form, Rohit opted to rest from the Sydney Test, handing over the leadership duties to Jasprit Bumrah, sparking widespread speculations about his future. Rohit said, and I quote, "I am not retired, but I stood down from this test. It was a difficult decision to stand down, but it was a sensible one. I took the call to stand down after coming to Sydney. Others can't decide things for us. Runs are not coming, but no guarantee you won't be able to score in future." Impressed with Bumrah's captaincy. "I am not going anywhere. I am out of the game because I am not in form." The move also paved the way for Shubham Gill's inclusion in the crucial fifth match of the Border Gavaskar Trophy as India is trailing 1-2. Former cricketer Navjot Singh Sidhu said that such decisions have to be taken before or after the series and that we have a habit of pulling our heroes down.
Look, my take on the Rohit Sharma issue is very simple. Such decisions have to be taken before or after a series. You cannot change horses midstream. And here is a captain. There is hue and cry. Public opinion will always be there. In India, 10 people will have 20 opinions. And we have a habit of pulling our heroes down, standing on the curb and, pulling our heroes down. That should not be the case. 6 months ago, the man had lifted the World Cup for you, right? And he was scoring runs. At the moment, today, Indian cricket stands like a tall mountain, boss. Tall mountain. We've done everything. It's run very well. There are more and more youngsters competing with each other. The IPL, people are gravitating towards our country, greener pastures, and commercially so viable. India sits at the top of ICC as well. Rohit Sharma represents 150 crore Indians. As a captain, during a series, when you remove him, you are sending the wrong signals. Psychologically, you are giving away the advantage. Look, any decision that is taken cannot be taken back. Lost occasions will never be redeemed. But when the king falls, the chess game is over. Not necessarily with cricket. Psychological. It's played between the ears as it is between the hands. So, as far as I am concerned, what has never happened in the history of Indian cricket and has happened in world cricket maybe 50 years back should not have happened at this juncture.